Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. You guys, today we are going to be building a bar slash karaoke bar. I guess I should just say a karaoke bar because it's got karaoke and it's got a bar. And then on the second floor, it is also a home. So you guys can even have it as if you just want it as a bar itself, or you want your Sims to party hard, or you can have your Sims live upstairs and then live their life that way. You totally can. And I actually really love this build. I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. I want to do a really big build on my next part. Obviously, we don't have a 64 by 64 lot, but I want to make something big. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And for anyone who's new as well, I'm doing a room build challenge here, or shell challenge, on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check me out, all of my links will be in the description down below. So if you guys want to participate in that, it is due December 20th, and you guys are sending in your rooms now. And I have all of the information on my pinned post on my Instagram account. So if you guys want to check that out, I will have that in the description. But you guys, I wanted to tell you a story. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, or for anyone who hasn't seen, I made a post a while ago stating that I needed to rant. Now, if you guys are new here, hi, how are you? My name is Jamie. I'm also known as Simspiration here on YouTube, and I like to tell stories and rant to you guys and tell you guys about what has happened in my life. Now, there's something that I need to tell you guys, and it was I was so cheesed, you guys. I was so mad, and I made a community post that I was like, girl, bring your popcorn, because your girl needs to rant. So you know what? It's ranting time. So if any of you guys didn't know, or if you guys haven't seen my last couple of videos, I was talking about how I actually have a job interview that I was going to be taking a look at. Now, the job that I was looking at was close to where my boyfriend lives, and we've been together now for about 5 years. So I was looking around trying to find somewhere to, work, so I was closer to him, and then we could actually find a place to live. Now, his parents are super nice, and they were like, yeah, you can live with us until, you and Alex find a place, and then, you guys can live on your own. So I was like, oh my God, that's great. So I started looking around in the places, where my boyfriend lives, so I could actually find something. And so I'm looking around, I'm searching, and then I see something that's called a brand ambassador job. So I was like, oh, okay, what's that? And this place is about 8 minutes away from my boyfriend's house. What? Are you serious? And it pays good, and it's Monday to Friday. You don't have to work the weekends, and the hours were basically the same as my boyfriend's. So I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Let me take a look. So I sent in my resume. And about I think a day or two later, on my sister, actually, you guys, at my sister's party that night, I was sitting with Alex on the couch, and then I got an email saying hey, we want to do an interview with you, choose the days, da 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 da. So I had to choose a day, and the only thing is that they had 3 days to choose from. And I luckily I was off one of those days at my job that I have right now. And I was like, oh my God. And I have to drive about 2 hours to go there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to leave a little bit early. It was around noonish. So that day I got ready. I left, and I went, at this point, I haven't seen my boyfriend in a while. So I went over. And I got there, and I just hung out with Alex for a little bit, just until I had to go to my interview. And so I finally get to the building, and I'm walking up, and this guy walks behind me, and he's young, and I open the door for him, and he's like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I come in, and I say, hi, I'm here for an interview. And she goes, oh yeah, so the guy that you just walked in with, he's gonna be doing the interview with you. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, he looks younger than me. So you guys, the first thing that kind of weirded me out was the fact that he was younger than me, that he was interviewing me, which isn't bad at all. It's good. I'm like, oh, they have younger people who are doing the interviews. That's awesome. So there's room for growth and all that stuff. So that's kind of like the rundown. It was like 10 minutes long, and like it said from like 12:30 to 1, but it was only 10 minutes. And the guy, his name is Will, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like I'll this is going to be like really quick and easy." One of the questions, because the description was so vague on the job description, I was like, "Oh, can you take me through like the day of like what do you guys do?" And he goes, "Oh, like we yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, like we go around, we have company events, or and then we also like go around and help people with helping out with like companies with charity and stuff like that, and da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay," but in the back of my head, I was like, "That's still kind of vague, but like okay." So that day I like left, and he said, "Okay, well, if you're good and we want to do a second interview, we will call you back, either that night or like tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good." So again, drive home, takes about 2 hours. I get home, and I start getting nervous because I'm like, "Oh my God, like what if this goes well? What if I get a second interview? Like I'm gonna like move all the way over here. Like it's cool. It's awesome to move and stuff like that and start a life, because it's my dream to like live with Alex, but also at the same time it's scary because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm moving away from my like house, like it's kind of weird, like it's we're gonna have to like live with things. I don't want things to change. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was going through my head. You guys, that night I was so nervous. I guess like my brain was so stressed out. I like woke up in the morning and the left side of my jaw was like completely like clenched, like it was sore. I couldn't open my mouth. Like I guess I was like grinding my teeth that night because I was so like stressed out. But that night I got a call, and he said like, "Hey, like we want to have you for like a second interview. What day works for you?" I finally got a day off, and I told like my boss, I was like, "Oh, I have like an appointment," because I didn't want to tell her that I had an interview just in case like just in case like something happened. You know what I'm saying? Like if something went wrong, I don't want to let her know. So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, "Okay, well, I can go this day." And then he was like, "Okay, yeah, so you can do that." That day, you guys, on this Wednesday that just happened, there was a huge snowstorm. And I was like, of course, the days that I'm supposed to go down, there's a huge snowstorm. Like, I didn't even know if I was even going to go. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, this is the universe saying like, don't go, like, don't go. And so I'm driving in the snow. It's crazy. And again, it takes me like 2 hours to get there. So I had to leave a little earlier because it was just like, there's too much snow. And I start getting closer towards my boyfriend, like where he lives, and it was clear, it was nice, it was beautiful outside. So I was like, okay, that's good. At least the weather died down, because like driving in snow, you guys, over here is just too stressful. It's too scary. And I get over there, and my interview was at 12:30. And so the only thing that I got a message for was from my interviewer guy, like Will, and he said, come at 12:30. Well, at first he said 12:45, and then the second one he said 12:30, and then he said dress accordingly to the weather. And I was like, dress accordingly to the weather? I'm like, what are we going to be doing? This is the second interview. What are we like, are we going skiing? Like, why do I have to dress to the weather? That's so weird. So I was like sitting here and I'm like, okay. So I finally get there. And I didn't see Alex because he left a little early. So I was like, okay, like I'll just kind of like leave it. And so I get there and I'm like in the parking lot, and I walk in and I'm like, "Hi, I'm here to see Will for my second interview." And she's like, "Oh yeah, like for sure, like go sit down." And I was like, okay, great. So 12:55 rolls around and Will is like nowhere to be seen. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, okay, this is kind of like one boom, red flag. I'm like, where is Will? And so he comes in. And then he starts like talking to me. Will eventually comes in and he starts talking to me about like in the front foyer about like how annoying it is that he has to interview so many people. He has to read off a script. He has like 10 minutes. He wishes that they were a little longer. Like he's just so stressed out. So he has to go sit in his car. He was like, "Can I go sit in my car?" He's like, "Oh wait, no, hold on. Sorry. I'm just going to go sit in my car." And I was like, sure. Boom. Red flag. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, don't talk to me about how like stressful it is about like interviewing people. Clients or people who are gonna apply for your like to work with you don't want to hear that. Second off, you want to go into your car and relax. Well, I'm sitting here waiting 20 minutes more past of when my actual interview is. And you're like, I watch you like go vaping like outside and then getting into your car. I'm like, this is not a good start. So I'm like sitting here, I'm waiting. And then he finally comes in and he's like, okay, I'll take you upstairs. So he takes me upstairs to meet the team. And you guys, they're all kids, like not like kids, but like they're like probably 14, not 14, oh my god, they're probably like 16, 17, 18, 19. And I'm like sitting here, I'm 23, okay, I'm not like old. I'm by no means, I'm not old. I'm just like sitting here and I'm like, these are all kids, like they're young adults, like there's no adult people in here, like adults, you know. And so I walk in and I'm just like, hi. And like, they were giving me some weird vibes. There was one guy that was like that drama, like class clown kind of vibe. There was one girl that like made me feel like she just never smiled in her life. There was another guy, like there was just so many interesting people in this room, right? And there was only like 4 of them. And without even a fail, they just start doing improv. About like how to knock on a door and say, hi, ma'am. And this is their first one. They're like, hi, ma'am, do you support women and children in charities? Oh, I bet you do. You stand behind that, don't you? And like, at first, as soon as that happened, I was like, huh? What? And I started to realize, I was like, oh my God, this is door-to-door sales. I'm like, oh my God, it's door-to-door sales. You guys, where I do this job or where this interview is, it's in a sketchy part of town, right? Okay. And at first, it is so sketchy doing door-to-doors. You get so many weird people. You get so much, it's dangerous, especially being a young woman like myself walking around in a sketchy town like this. I'm like, no, I'm getting picked up. Like, that is terrifying. And I'm like sitting here and I'm like watching them for like an hour and a half and I'm getting so mad because I'm like, what is this? Like, you didn't tell me that this was door-to-door sales. If I knew that this was door-to-door sales, I would have never came. And so I'm like sitting here and they're like knocking on the door and then they were telling stories about how like when it's wintertime, they ask people to like come into their house so they can like start telling them about the projects. I'm like, you're asking them to go into your house? And they were telling me like stories about that. I'm like, that is so dangerous. I'm like, what? I'm like, I sat here and I'm like, what is even happening? And I was so like, I was sitting there for like an hour and a bit and I'm like, you guys, I am about to like, I couldn't even like go on my phone to like text someone. I felt like that would be too rude. But I'm like sitting here and I'm like, I just want to go home. Like I started to like get really upset because I'm like, this entire time I was like, I'm going to go finally meet like a place like to go near Alex. It's going to be close. It's going to be a good job. It's going to be paying. Like I was even telling myself, I'm like, if it's anything, even if it's bad, like I'll just stick with it until I find something else. But door-to-door sales, no, I'm not doing door-to-door sales. That is a big no. And so I'm like sitting here and then they're like, okay, like let's go to Tim Hortons or Tim's and or Osmo's and we'll you know, like we'll find a place in wherever this city is and we'll go to that residential area and then we'll just start knocking on doors. And I was like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me? So as soon as they were like, okay, let's go, I'll send you like the Tim Hortons like thing, I was like, okay. So I get in my car and I follow them there because I'm like, I'm not going in your car, like I'll go in my own car, I'll follow you there. So I go to like the parking lot and I'm like calling my mom, crying. I'm like, this is so like not, they're wasting my time. This literally wasted my time. Like I didn't even be able to see Alex beforehand. Like I drove 2 hours there twice thinking that this was going to be like somewhere where I could go to have a place like to finally start my life with Alex. Like this was a whole thing. And I even asked him, I was like, what's the day-to-day? Because the description was so sketchy. Even the guy, when I was sitting there waiting for my interview, guys, he asked me, he's like, do you know what this job entails? Because I have no idea. This guy had a degree, a master's in marketing. And I was like, I have no idea. And like, he's trying to find a job for him and his wife. So I was like, this is awful. I'm like, people don't know what they're getting themselves into. And so I was so mad. I was fuming. And I called my mom. I called my sister. I texted my boyfriend. Like, I was just like crying. I'm like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't want to go with them. I don't want to go anywhere. And my mom was like, well, what do they want? And I'm like, they want to go to Tim Hortons, eat, and then they want to take me like places and show them door to door. And I was like, I just want to go home. Like, I'm so mad. And so my mom was like, just text them, say thanks for the opportunity. Something came up. There was an emergency. I need to leave. Thank you very much, but I'm not like interested. So I did that. And his response was just, okay, drive safe. I'm like, bro. So I was like, you guys, I was so mad. I was so freaking mad. And so I like text Alex, and I kind of like give him like a short form, but he was working. He works in a hospital, so like he didn't really have time. And I was like, do you want to just go for lunch or something? So he's like, yeah, sure. So we went to lunch. And we went to McDonald's. And you guys, sorry if you hear squeaking. It's my chair. Like, I keep moving this. I need a new chair. But we went to McDonald's. Weirdest thing. A guy walks over. Me and Alex are eating. And he's like, wow. He's like, you guys look like someone out of like a commercial or something like that. Like, you guys look incredible. You're so cute. And then he looked at Alex and he's like, especially you. He's like, dude, what's your background? And he was like, oh, I'm Chinese and Iranian. And he was like, wow. He's like, have you ever like thought about doing like acting before or like anything like that? And Alex was like, oh, no. And I was like, well, he's done like background acting like once or whatever like that, but it's not like a thing. And he was like, oh, yeah, man. And he started like telling us about like how he's gonna be getting like a $350,000 like check. He's like telling us that he works for Facebook and like how he had like this whole like account and stuff like that. And then he like pulled out this card and he like gave it to Alex and he's like, here. He's like, this will change your life, dude. So he like gave it to him and I was like, what? I'm like, what even? I was so confused. So I thought it was so funny. It was the weirdest thing ever. It just happened at McDonald's randomly, and this dude, and then like he like tried to talk to us for like 10 minutes, and then he like walked away, and we were just like, what just happened? Like, did Alex just get scouted? Like, I don't know. So he like, we looked it up and it was really funny, but like so like Alex emailed them or whatever just to see, like, for fun, right? And I thought it was really funny. And then I was like, we were driving back because it was like he only had like a half an hour break, and I was just like, I'm like, I just don't want to go home, this is so annoying. And then Alex was like, what time do you work tomorrow? I'm like, 1:30. And then I went silent, and then I go, okay, you're twisting my arm, I'll stay with you tonight. And he's like, actually though, I was just about to ask that. So I was like, oh, good. So I had to tell him what happened. And it, you know, like, it was just, it kind of sucked. Like, the whole situation sucked about me driving there, but at least I got to see Alex. And then he like took me back like where his job is and showed me around. And then that night we like drove over up into like the parking garages, and we could go to the top of the roof, and we just like relaxing, just looking at everything, and it's just really cool. So you know what, even though it wasn't good, like, at least I got to see Alex, because I won't be able to see him until probably January because he's like working a lot. But yeah, you guys, this has been a crazy week. So I've been looking around for other jobs, and yeah, how crazy is that? I'm so, at least like when I left, my mom was like, hey, at least you have a good story for YouTube. I was like, yeah, Mom, I mean, you're not wrong. At least I have like a good story to tell. So anyways, you guys, I'm ranting enough. Let's get into the build and I'll show you guys around. Okay, give me one sec. All right, you guys, so we are in game, and this is my little like karaoke bar slash like apartment homes. I think on the gallery I'll have it as like a bar, but you guys can live here. There are 2 different apartments, but I want to take you through it. I actually love the way that this turned out. I think it's absolutely freaking adorable. Like, there's like the little train tracks on the side. We have like a little stand where your Sims can go eat. We have a bar over here, and then we have like another bar on this side. And then as we go towards the back, we are gonna have like the entrances to the 2 apartments. So let's get into what it looks like inside. So as we drop down onto the first floor, we are gonna be headed into and greeted with the little bar that we have in here. Now, it's a little cramped, it's a little bit like together. I hope your Sims can walk through. I might take out these like chairs on the side here just to be like 100% sure that your Sims can walk through this side. I'm a little nervous about that, but I think it should be okay. We have like a little karaoke spot right here. Oh, and the door. And but I love it. I think it's really cute. It has like a little bar over on this side here. That is from the Snowy Escape pack. And then you come over here, and this is going to be like your front entrance. And then one of the rooms for the karaoke bars are in here. And then we have another one right here, and they have like a little like a little fridge over here with the little teapot as well. So I just wanted to keep them relatively the same, but I love using these things to put like around the walls. I think that it just adds like some extra like to the wall, because there's not much. And then over here is like the other bar. This one is mostly like an outside like restaurant kind of thing, but I actually love it. I think it is really freaking cute. You have like a little stand here with some items as well, and then we obviously have to have a vending machine. These things a vending machine, that is the name. And then down here we have like somewhere where all of your Sims can sit and eat and just enjoy life together. So I think that is really fun. And then obviously we have to have the tuk-tuk up here. Now going upstairs, I'll put it right because I thought it just looks so cute during the nighttime. So coming up here and going up to the front, this is going to be like the first little apartment. I like the way that it is. I think that it's really cute. I imagine like maybe like a mother and a daughter. I don't know. I didn't really have a story. I don't really create stories for my Sims when I build these things. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But then we have like this little apartment over here. And then moving on, this is going to be like the second apartment. This one has like the little entrance area. And then I wanted it to be kind of weird. Like the couch is here, but the TV's over here. We have like this really big kitchen for some reason, but like the spot here is really small. It's like a little nook. Bathroom over here. Maybe like a little art room or like somewhere where they just like to sit and just like watch TV and get away from everyone. And then we also have like a little baby room. I'm sorry, I apologize for like the vines coming in. I didn't want to move it because it like looks too nice outside, so I'm sorry. And then you come up here, and then we also have like the stairs. You got like a little study area, the big bedroom over here, and then we also have this giant like bathroom on this side, and then like a little laundry room as well. Now you guys, this is gonna be on my gallery, so if you guys want to download it, it will be up there. I'll also be posting photos of this on my Instagram, so stay tuned for that. Again, all the information and my shell challenge will be in the link description down below. You will find all that on my Instagram. So I hope that you guys like this video. Maybe please consider like, commenting, and subscribing. We are almost at 8,000, so thank you all so freaking much. Maybe hit 9 at the end of the month. Maybe we'll see. I don't know, but I hope that you guys like this video.